I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus describes hell as a place of, quote, outer darkness. I assume there is darkness because of the complete absence of God, yet I always thought of hell as a place of tormenting flames. In Revelation chapter 20, verse 14, death and hell are thrown into the lake of fire. Is this lake of fire what we generally think of as hell? Please explain the difference between hell and the lake of fire. Well, this is a really good Wednesday night question because there's like 5 questions in one, so I'm going to do my best to kind of synthesize this in somewhat of a quick fashion. Now, let's start at the end. What we know as hell and what we know as the lake of fire are eerily similar, but vastly different. The Bible makes it very clear that anybody who lives their life in total rejection of Jesus Christ and does not believe and accept him as their Savior and Lord goes into a place the Bible calls hell. However, in Revelation chapter 20, there's this event known as the Great White Throne Judgment. Here's what's important about that passage, though. In verse 10 of that passage, it says that all of the creation has literally gone away at the presence of the Lord. And then in chapter 21, we have a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem. Now, why is that important? Because the picture you get is that what you and I know as hell is no longer, and the lake of fire is the eternal version of torment, whereas the new Jerusalem and the new earth is the eternal version of what you and I might call or refer to as heaven. That is why in Matthew 25:41, Jesus, speaking of this judgment, said the lake of fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Now, what does that mean? That means that there is an eternal torment for those who reject Jesus in a place that's called the lake of fire, but yes, it's also called outer darkness. How can those two coincide? Well, you know, there's this phrase in the Bible that we talk about, kind of the old school phrase of hell, fire, and brimstone. Think sulfur, today's context. Here's what's fascinating about sulfur, is that when you burn sulfur, it burns clear. If you've ever watched a high-end automotive race, whether it be Formula One or such, they burn these alcohol fuels. You notice that the fire that the men who are racing these cars, when they have a crash, when they're running from, you can't see it because it burns clear. And so you actually can have a lake of fire and outer darkness all at the same time, because you have a fire that biblically description would be of clearness. So it is dark and it is a fire all at the same time, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what was referred to as the absence of God. Why? Because in Psalm 69, what does David say? If I go to the highest heaven, God, you're there. If I go to the lowest hell, you are there. It's not the absence of God. It is the total presence of the wrath of God. Great question. If you have one, send to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.